What's going on, everyone? This is Sai from Forge Physio. Today we're going to go over a knee extension stretch. So a lot of times what we see is we have clients that come in with some sort of knee injury or maybe lower limb injury, and as a result of that they've lost knee extension and they continue to get swelling or effusion of that knee joint when they try to do any sort of weight bearing activity, or maybe when they try to progress back to squats and lunges, step ups, those types of things. So this drill is designed to take advantage of gravity to create what we would call creep, to where we can elongate some tissue to try to get that knee all the way straight. So we're gonna go through, I have a bunch of equipment set out here. We're gonna go through a bunch of different ways that we can set this up. So my favorite way to do this is if you have access to like a leg roller. And so a lot of people don't have access to this, but simply going to a gym, putting a barbell on a squat rack, putting a pad on it, now you have a leg roller, right? Or if you're at home, I'll show you a different setup trick here in just a second. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take the leg roller and I'm gonna attach it to the squat rack. And now I have this elevated surface to be able to utilize. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just simply putting my heel up on and I'm letting my knee hang straight. If I sit upright like this position, it's going to flex my hip, which is going to put a demand into my hamstring. And for a lot of people, if you don't have full knee range of motion, that's gonna be something that's gonna be a little bit irritating. So laying on your back is probably going to be better for you. Okay, so this is one way that we can go about it. My limb is above my heart. This can facilitate to get some of that fluid that's accumulating out of the limb. I can wrap an ice pack on my knee if you're someone who's in like a relatively post-surgical acute phase. That can help facilitate some of that healing and reduce some of the irritability. But essentially, you're just doing this and letting this leg hang. Now, it doesn't seem like that much, but you'll find if you have an irritated knee joint that doesn't have full knee extension, when you just let it hang like this, after about 3 minutes, it'll start to bother you. And if you're not paying attention, you'll start to pull your toes toward you. So as I pull my toes toward me, it'll bend my knee, it'll put some tension into my calf complex, and it'll take away the stretching sensation that happens in the knee. So you gotta be mindful about getting your foot to relax so it forces that knee extension stretch, okay? So if you're someone that has access to this, this is my favorite way to do it, and then we would go over some progressions. So the next progression would be, if you're not being limited by effusion or the swelling in the knee joint, is elevating the surface that you're sitting on, because what it's going to do is it's going to create more of a stretching mechanism behind that knee joint. So if I'm here and I'm just letting this knee hang, now there's a lot less that's supported and gravity's working directly through my knee. So that would be a progression, and then I would just let it hang with an ice pack. And then the third progression is if I grab like a light dumbbell and I take a resistance band, I can add and facilitate a stretch. So what I do is take the resistance band and I fold it in half, right? So fold it in half. And then what I'm doing is I'm putting one side of the band below my knee and the other side of the band above my knee. And then what you would do is you just loop. It's gonna be kind of a silly setup, but you're just looping. I'm gonna flip the loop here so you guys can see it. So if I fold the band in half, you're gonna get one side that has a closed loop, and then you're gonna get the other side that has two loops, one on my index finger, one on my middle finger. So if I put it like that, combine them, I would stick the dumbbell through those loops, and now I'm letting those bands just hang with the dumbbell and push my knee down, and we're just sitting in this position and letting gravity do its thing. So at home, if you could do this at home, this box could simply be like your couch, and the leg roller here could be like an ottoman or something like that. It doesn't have to be a leg roller and a gym-based setup, but ultimately this is going to be our gold standard setup, to where I have my ankle a little bit higher than my hip, my limb is unsupported. I can take a band or something of this sort, put it above and below the knee joint so it's not pushing directly down on the knee joint, put some load on it and let it hang. If you're at home and you have minimal equipment, Another way that you can do this is with a backpack. So if I take a backpack, load it, put two or three textbooks in there to get 5 to 10 pounds, I pull the straps tight, put the backpack through my leg, I put one strap below the knee, one strap above the knee, and simply throw on a TV show, read a book, do something, but be mindful that you're relaxing your foot, because as you hold this stretch, you're gonna feel your foot want to pull towards you, okay? And then the last piece to be mindful of is a lot of people, again, haven't been in these positions in a long time. So as it tensions the hamstring, you can get some tingling or like numbness sensation that goes down into the foot. A lot of that's being caused by the compression of the nerve up around the hip joint. So if you're sitting on a hard surface like this, you're gonna get more irritability up in the hip. So just put a pad under your butt or go back to the ground and put your foot elevated and lay flat on your back. So you're taking that hamstring out of it with the hip flexion. Okay, so gold standard is gonna be this setup. We're getting some sort of load that goes to the knee, and we're gonna try to go for 15 minutes of just letting that leg hang and creating a real knee extension stretch.